This conference will now be recorded.
Overview on automation and Selenium. This is the very basic section. Even though some of the people might know the concepts which I am going to teach you right now, please to have some patience so that you'll get all the things one by one. So as a part of this is what our agenda. So we'll be discussing what is software testing, challenges in manual testing. You have to convert manual steps to automation script. How does an automation tool works? As a part of automation tools, we'll be having lot of tools. We'll be discussing Selenium as one of the tool in automation tools. What is its advantages? Every tool, once it is invented or discovered has or implemented, will have some disadvantages or limitations. We'll also discuss that. And most of the people will think that Selenium is only one tool. Not. It's not a one tool. It's a combination of tools. I can call that as a suite. We'll also discuss that at the very last. Before going to discuss what is software testing, what is manual, all this stuff, there are few more important points which you might already be knowing. But if you already know, let us try to repeat some few more important points. What is a software? It's a collection of computer programs designed to perform a specific task or application. You take this GoToMeeting application, which you are attending this with the help of this, you are attending this online session. This is a software. What is its aim? To perform a specific task. What is that specific task? Attend a meeting. This is what a specific task. It is designed for achieving a specific task. So I can say GoToMeeting is a collection of computer programs. Similarly, there are a lot of softwares in the market like MS Office, Zoom. There are a lot of things which you might already be knowing. Fine, it is a collection of computer programs. Then how many types of software are present in the market? One is system software, programming software. The name itself says what they do, as well as application software. When I am saying system software, it is used for managing computer hardware. Primarily, what is its primary task is to manage computer hardware. So as a part of that, we'll be having drivers, device drivers, operating systems, whether it is Windows, Mac, Linux, any of operating systems, servers, utilities. Mainly focuses on managing computer hardware. As a part of this, these are different types of system softwares. Then what about this programming software? This name itself says these are useful for programming. This helps developer in creating, testing and debugging. So as a part of that, if you are using Java, yes, you might be well familiar with compilers. With any another language, we'll be using debugging or debuggers as well. When you are dealing with Python, since Python is an interpreted language, we'll be also looking at interpreters. So these are programming softwares. What about application softwares? So there will be a lot of applications today. You take off desktop applications, mobile applications, web applications. So these applications directly targeting to end customers. So these application softwares, clients or end users will directly work on those application softwares like your mobile applications. You take off any Facebook. This is there is a mobile application or a web application. So it is directly targeting to customers. So this is with respect to one of the example of application software. What is a project? If you are developing a specific thing, a specific computer program for a specific customer based on his requirements, very, very important point. See, most of the people will confuse about project as well as product. You take when you are working in a service based company, you will be deployed to work for another company. With respect to you, I can call it is a project. The company who is developing and whom you are serving will develop a product. So if you think of like coming to this product, MS Office, it is having different products like MS Doc, Excel, PPT, like these are different products available in the market. So when you design this particular product, this particular application, multiple customers will be using this particular product. Not only this particular product, lot of products in the market. So this is one of a peanut in the market. So when I am differentiating about a project or a product, it is developed for a specific customer based on their project requirements, based on their requirements. You can think of like banking applications. See, for one bank, they will be having some different requirements. For another bank, they will be having some different requirements. So based on their requirements, you will design or you will develop. So then that product, I can call that as a project. So if the same product is developed for multiple customers in the market, then I can call that is a product. Very, very important definitions. Most of the people will confuse here. So try to have some awareness here. Then what is an error? Any incorrect human action, very important point, any incorrect human action that results in incorrect output. So result or output I can call. When you give wrong input, the system which is designed will give the wrong result. So any incorrect human action which makes the system to give the wrong output, it is called as an error. Because of human, errors will be able to get. Then what is a bug or a defect? Suppose you think of one specific functionality. You take this facebook.com. Let me take here. I'm just coming here. So I'm just clicking on this logging on sign up. So you can see, you'll be seeing this email address text box as well as password text box. You need to enter proper email address or phone number, proper password. When you click on login, after entering valid credentials, you will be able to log in into that application. So if you see the scenario, so let me write that scenario here so that you can understand. So if you can see valid credentials. So expected thing is should log in into application. So if you do mistake, so instead of valid credentials, if you enter invalid credentials, very important point, it logins or it allows you to log in into application. If it allows to log in, then it is not an expected behavior. So the expectation is whenever you design a system, if you give proper credentials only, it should be able to, it should allow you to log in into the application. Even though you enter invalid credentials, if it allows you to log in into that application, it is not an expected behavior. When I talk about bug or a defect, the same thing applies here. It's a deviation from the expected behavior. What is the expected behavior? You should log in into that application when you have valid credentials to the actual behavior. So of the system, it is called as a defect. Defect or bug, both are same only. Then what about failure? Once a developer develops a product, he deploys into QA environment. QA gives sign off. Then business people comes into picture where the product which is signed by QA people will be deployed to UAT environment. And once post sign off from UAT people or business people, user acceptance testing, which is done by business people, you will deploy the same feature or functionality to production environment. where all the customers, end customers, will get interact with this particular product. There is a bug which QA not identified, UAT people also not identified. But when the end user using that particular system is identified that particular bug, then it is called as a failure. Very important point. The deviation identified by end user. Whenever end user is working with the production environment, production application, he finds some issue which is not identified by QA as well as UAT. When using this particular system, then I can say it is called as an failure. This is what about a project, product, error, bug or defect as well as failure. Fine. Why we need software testing? Once you develop a product, there are lot of products, lot of companies in a competitive way will develop a product. If one company develops a product, if that particular product is having some bugs, which is not working as per the customer expectations, or if it is, even though the product is designed, if it is not in a proper way, if it is having some bugs, then he will be a big loser in the market. To avoid that, we need to ensure software which is to be released to the market to be a bug-free product. And once you define or once you develop a software, it should meet customer requirements. So there are a lot of customers which will be having a lot of requirements. If all the customers satisfied with the product or the software which you develop, then it is a good software to ensure that whether it is able to meet the system, whether the system able to meet the customer requirements, then we need software testing. And whoever uses this particular system are called as end users. Customers are different, end users are different. So if you think of like, when I'm working in a service based company, for me, a client or a customer is some X bank. And that particular bank portal is used by multiple customers like corporates, individuals having different accounts. So those corporates or individuals using that particular product are called as end users. And the clients are called as customers. So I am working on behalf of my company to the customer. So based on his requirements, I am just building a product. So that product should meet end user expectations. So you think of this one particular scenario. Whenever you do a transaction, once the transaction is done, automatically that particular amount should be updated within no time. What happens when you do a transaction? You need to close that particular application and again you need to log into that application. So this is not an expected scenario. This is, see, most of the customers will not accept this. Once they do transaction, automatically the balance in that account should be updated without any intervention. If this is not, then you will not meet end user expectations. So this is one of the scenario. To ensure whether the system which we are designing, we are making, we are developing meets the end user expectations, we need software testing. Once you release the product into the market, if the product is buggy, again you need to fix those bugs. Again you need testing from QA people again as well as from UAT people. Lot of time is wasted, lot of resources you need to spend. So once the bugs are identified in the production environment, fixing those bugs identified after release is more expensive because of resources, because of time. Mostly within this particular time, another competitor will emerge in the market. All the market for this existing customer will be market base, will be shifted to another company. So to avoid all these things, to achieve all these things, we need software testing. One is to make sure software is a bug-free software, bug-free product. We need software testing to ensure whether the system which we developed meets customer requirements, we need software testing. And the customer will be having some requirements based on software also. Yes, I want my software to be developed in .NET, to be using this Oracle database. So like this, to be using this JavaScript for the front end. So these are nothing but software specifications. We need to check, we need to ensure whether the system meets these requirements. It should also ensure that end user having some expectations. We need to make sure that end user is satisfied with this system which we developed or not. For this, we need software testing. Once we fix the bugs identified after release, which is more expensive, to avoid this, we need software testing. So these are the areas where we do software testing. So without software testing, we will not release the product into the market. You think of this scenario. When you cook a food, when you taste it, you will say that, yes, I cooked food. It is very fine, absolutely fine, very good to me. Who needs to certify? The person who consumes that food, who tastes that food, needs to certify. Similarly, developer develops a product. He says that my code is working as expected. It has no bugs. But who need to certify? QA people need to certify. If QA people will not certify, then the feature or functionality will not go into the live environment or production environment. So that much of importance we have in software testing. Very, very important. So if you can see, this comes the real definition here. What is a software testing? It's an activity to check whether the actual results match with the expected results or not. So you think of these expected results. So the expected results are should log in into that application once we enter valid credentials only. This is what my expected. So if the actual results are like, you think of this particular example, if even though if you enter invalid credentials, if it allows you to log in into that application, this is not an expected scenario. Both the expected as well as actual should match. To check whether the actual and the expected results matching or not, and to ensure that the software system is a defect free system or not, we need software testing, and that activity is called as software testing. I can also define software testing in another way. It's a justification of all the requirements of a customer in a product. Once you define a product, customer needs to satisfy. Customer having 100 requirements. You have implemented 99 requirements. Definitely customer will satisfy. And that 100th requirement also you will make, but in near future. So you need to justify, you need to just do justification for all the requirements of a customer in his product. Once you define a product, quality is defined in the customer's mind. Yes, as like I have said, developers once develop a product, he should not decide whether it is a quality product or not. Customer needs to decide whether it is a quality product or not. As I said, it is defined in the customer's mind. And it also helps to identify errors, gaps, or any missing requirements. Like out of 100 requirements, is there any requirements which are missing, which are need to be developed by the developer or not? So by software testing, we will get to know all these things. You can do software testing manually as well as in an automation way by using automation tools. Very important. See, nowadays, the buzzing word is automation. Whether it is testing, whether it is DevOps, you are doing automation. So manual things are going ahead. So manual thing will not die, but definitely market is slightly tilting towards automation. So that's why automation tools are very important. That too, Selenium is having larger market share. See, nowadays Python is one of the important language with related to data science, and this Python is also used for automating web applications with the help of Selenium WebDriver. Very important. Selenium with Java, Selenium with Python. So nowadays all the companies will be tilting towards Python because of its simplicity. So if you can see how many levels of testing we have seen, what is software testing? Then how many levels you will do? You will do unit testing, integration testing, system testing, UAT testing. Very important points. Once you know these basics, then only we will get to know what is the things which we are doing in testing. Unit testing. Unit means a single piece or a module, I can say. So if you can see, what is unit testing? Multiple developers will be working on multiple features. Each feature is called as a unit. Once a developer develops a product, he will do unit testing. So that individual component, I can call that as a unit. Testing that individual component is called as unit testing. Who does this unit testing? Developers. Similarly, integration testing, as I have said, multiple developers will be working on multiple products. At the end of the day, they need to integrate all the products in one place. So, and it is deployed to QA. QA people will do integration testing. They will test the whole component, nothing but integrated component. All the components are integrated and they will do integration testing. And post integration testing will also do system testing. Once the entire system is tested, after system testing, we'll do user acceptance testing. User acceptance testing will be done by UAT people, nothing but business people also, I can say. So what we will do here, we will test the entire system once we receive the sign off from QA people. So testing the final system is called as acceptance testing. So these are different types of levels of testing: unit, integration, system, as well as UAT testing. Then we have seen, so system testing is one of the types of testing or levels of testing in software testing. So what are system testing types? You can see GUI testing, graphical user interface, usability testing, functional testing, non-functional testing. Very important. In the system testing, you will have this functional testing, GUI testing. So if you can talk about one by one, making sure all buttons, icons, screens in software looks and they should work as expected. You think of like clicking buttons, checking if the layout is correct, zooming in, zooming out, if the element text is visible correctly or not, like this. So these as a part of GUI, graphical user interface testing, which is a part of system testing, will perform. Then what about usability testing? Once we develop a product, the customer, end user who is using that particular product should able to easily understand that particular software, to check how we can use that particular system, how simply we can use, how easily we can use that particular system. We do usability testing. It checks, we test if the software is easy for people to use and understand. Once we develop, people should easily use that, should easily understand that. Then only the product or a software is very useful to the people in the market. Like checking if the menus are clear, tasks are straightforward or not, without any different ways. Like all the things should be in a one go. For that, we will do usability testing. What about functional testing? The name itself says functionality, testing the functionality of a system. There are different type of functionalities which will be developing and integrating in one place. As a part of functional testing, we will verify each part of the software. Like when I'm saying each part of the software, each functionality of the software works correctly or not, performs its job correctly or not. We'll go functional by functional. So there are a lot of functional, as I have said. When you see a big enterprise applications like Amazon.com. So if you can see here, I'm just going this Amazon.com. You can see there are a lot of features or functionalities implemented or integrated in one place. You can see it here, sign in, orders, cart. So you can see this pricing feature, item condition. This is a big enterprise application which we will be using in our daily life. We will test each and every functionality as a part of functional testing. Then what about functional testing? Let me tell you one simple example. When there are no big billion days, Amazon application functions very perfectly. Like at those times, there are less less customers traffic to that application. When there are big billion days, when you are having offers in that particular website, we know that in general, people will look for less prices. At those times, that particular Amazon application will have huge customer traffic. You cannot imagine. At that situation also, it needs to work as expected. It should not break the system functionality. That huge customer traffic should not break the system functionality. When 1,000 users log into that application, in which way the system is working. Similarly, when 10 lakh users logins into that application, nothing but huge customer traffic. At that time also, it should work as expected. Very important point. It should never stop. It should never broke. For checking, for testing, whether it is having that capability or not, we do non-functional testing. You can see it here, checking how many users the system can handle at once is called as performance testing. Likewise, you are having lot of things. If you can see here, as a part of functional testing, you'll be having unit testing, component testing, smoke testing, integration testing, regression, sanity, system, as well as user acceptance testing. So this is about functional. Coming to non-functional, stress testing, volume testing, maintainability, security, scalability, compatibility, usability, performance, as well as load testing. So these are different type of functional as well as non-functional testings. So since this is not a manual testing class, we'll not be going in detail of this functional as well as non-functional aspects. But as a point, as an interview, you can think of how many types of testing you'll be having. So we'll only be confined to this functional testing. So as a part of functional testing, we will be using automation tools. As a part of non-functional testing, so one of the automation tool here is Selenium. So as a part of non-functional testing, we'll also have security testing as well, load testing, performance testing as well. See, for performance testing, in general, we will use Jmeter as well as Roadrunner. So these are different type of tools which we will be using as a part of functional as well as non-functional testings. Now we are in challenges. Every day we'll be doing manual testing. Without manual testing, even though we have automation, you will never release the product into the market. That much importance we are having as a part of manual testing. We do everyday manual testing. Then what are the challenges we'll be having in manual testing? Boring, time consuming, tedious, nothing but difficult. You can see any human can make mistakes, errors. You have to do retesting, regression testing. So if you can see here, every day you have to repeat the task again and again, repeat the work again and again. If you do the same work again and again, yes, you will be an expert. Absolutely fine. But if you do the same thing again and again, you will be boring. Like suppose if you are having some three years or 4 years of experience, which you are working in the same technology, you are doing the same work again and again. What you will do at the end of the day, after 4th year or the 5th year, you will think that I need to change the product, a project, or I need to change my domain so that I don't get bored. I will be in market trends with respect to the market requirements. So like that, you can think of, if you repeat the work again and again, you'll get boring. And it will be also time consuming. If there are some difficult things which you have to do manually, then it will be tedious. As I have said, humans can make mistake. We will do mistakes or errors as a part of this manual testing. We need to do retesting. We need to do regression testing. So these are the main challenges of manual testing. So let me talk about rig testing as well as regression testing. So if you can see here, let me open some open board. Let me make you understand here. I'm just writing it few more points, so try to listen it very carefully. Take about login functionality of the system. Login functionality. So let me remove this. Login functionality. Login functionality of any system. Login functionality of any system. So as a part of login functionality, what you will do, we'll have some different type of scenarios. Like you can think of valid credentials. So when I am saying valid credentials, or let me take in this way. So let me write in this way. So valid email and valid password. Once you enter valid email and valid password, it should allow you should log in into that particular system. What is another scenario? Invalid login, invalid email and valid password. This is one of the scenario. What we will do here, it should not allow you to log in into that system. So no login. Let me write it here. And similarly, let me write. So if you can see invalid email and invalid password. So if you can see, it should also, the system should not allow you to log in, no login. Then what is that another scenario? Valid email and invalid password. So in this case also, the system should not allow you to log in into that particular application. So if you can see, in all these four scenarios, you are testing one functionality, login functionality. What you are doing, you are testing, retesting the same functionality again and again with different sets of data. This is set 1. This is set 2. This is set 3. This is set 4. Checking the same functionality with multiple sets of data, multiple times. So first set, first time. Second set, second time. Third set, third time. Fourth set, fourth time. This type of testing is called as retesting. Very, very important. Executing the same test case by giving number of inputs, nothing but different sets of data on the same build. When I am saying same build, same login functionality is called as retesting. Very, very, very important. Very important. I am repeating one more time. Executing the same test case or testing the functionality, you can think, you can write in this way also. Let me write it here. Testing the same functionality with multiple sets of data. Multiple sets of data. Multiple times. Very, very important. See, if you know the concept, you can play with the definitions. It's not a big problem. Testing the same functionality with multiple sets of data multiple times is called as retesting. Very important. Then what about regression testing? Let me take one of the scenario. Let me take, you can think of like Gmail. This Gmail is having multiple components. So one module is inbox. Another module is sent items. Another module is like starred. So these are different type of modules. You will also be having like if you can think of spam folder or module. So each folder, I can say it is a separate module. Very important definition which we will be knowing right now. What is regression testing? So if you say you find a bug in the spam folder, there is a bug in the spam folder, fine, absolutely fine. Once this bug is fixed by developers, what we will do, we will test that particular bug which is there in the spam folder. Along with this bug, we will also test the features, other features of this particular module, spam module. Along with spam module, you will also test inbox module. You will also test sent items module. You will also test starred module. Why? Because developer has given the fix to this particular bug. Absolutely fine. Because of fixing this particular bug, it should not allow, it should not disturb the existing features in the inbox module, in the sent items module, in the starred module. Because of the bug fix in one module should not disturb the current features or the existing functionalities of other modules. Also, if you can see the definition, it's a type of software testing executed to check whether the code change. Very important point. When I am saying code change, it's nothing but a bug fix. Code change is nothing but a bug fix. Has not disturbed current features and functions of application. So this application will be having multiple modules as we have seen inbox, sent items, start, etc. Because of the bug fix in one module should not disturb the functionalities or features in another modules. To ensure this, we do testing. This type of testing, I can call that as regression testing. QA engineer has to spend a lot of time and effort to perform retesting as well as regression testing. We can avoid this lot of time and lot of effort by using automation tools. We can reduce that effort by using automation tools. This is what about retesting and regression testing. Most of the people who attend to my classes don't know this particular basic function, basic definition as well. What about retesting as well as regression testing? So I hope my people should know this. Once they know, it will be very easy for them to understand. Now, how does an automation tool works? So what we will do, suppose there is a functionality or a feature, I can say to test that particular functionality or a feature, what we will do, we will write test steps. At the end of the day, we will execute those test steps on AUT. When I am saying AUT, it is nothing but application under test. Very important terminology in software testing. I hope most of the people will be working on some areas. So in software testing, we can call applications which we will be testing. Those are nothing but AUTs, application under test. We will execute our test steps which we are rating at the end of the day on AUTs, application under test. So these are manual steps. We will write on some Excel. So nowadays what we will be doing in our organization, we will be using ADO, Azure DevOps. So in Azure DevOps, we'll be having test plans. In test plans, we will write test cases. But in general, when you are using Jira, you will be having some Q test where you will be writing these test cases. Now, these are manual test cases. You will execute step by step. What you will do, you will convert these manual test steps into automation test script. You can see it here. So this is what an automation script. You will write this automation script by any one of the automation tool. What we will do, we will just convert each and every step, manual step to automation script. We will execute this particular script on some AUT, application under test. Let me show you one simple example which we will be discussing in which I have discussed to previous batches. So if you can see here, I'm just opening this. Yeah, you can see this is what a simple website which I'm just taken. This is what I have done. I have just converted these manual steps to automation test scripts. I'm just executing. So it is one of the website which I'm just taking to select any one of the option in the drop down. So like this, you'll be having some different things. So if you can see here, let me make you understand. So this is simple login and logout functionality. See, you can see it here. This is what a simple test case which I have written. So if you can see, I'm executing this in Edge browser. Similarly, you can execute that in Chrome browser, in Firefox, as well as in any another desired browser which you want. I will not be going to execute this. Rather, I'm just making you understand how you will convert this manual test case. You can see it here. Test case consisting of test steps. So these are different type of test steps. So open that particular browser, open that URL, enter username, password, click on login button, check whether the title of the page is equal or not. So whether it is equal to expected title or not. Once it is expected, you do the closing operation of the browser. All these manual test steps I have included as a part of automation script. You can see it here. Opening that particular browser, maximizing, entering username, password, clicking on the login button, checking whether the expected title is equal to actual title or not. After they are equal, what I will do, I'll perform close operation. So this is a simple automation script as a part of this course, which you will be knowing going ahead. And you will execute this automation script on a browser. Let me execute this for your understand. Right click. I'm just executing, run login logout. Don't worry, you will not understand anything here. Just you observe how we are executing. Yeah, you can see I am executing this particular script in a headless mode. You will not see anything on the user. Let me comment this. It's one of the most important feature in every project. Let me show you. Whenever we are discussing that particular thing, we'll make you understand. Yes, you can see it is opening a browser instance. In that particular browser instance, opening that website, entering username and password, checking whether the title is equal to expected title or not. So if it is equal, then definitely we'll land on to home page. You can see it here. This is what the message, custom message, which we will be writing if both expected as well as actual title are equal. This is how we do automation test on any AUTs, application test, application under test. Then as a part of this particular course, or not only this particular course, there are a lot of automation tools. You will be having Cypress, you'll be having Playwright, you'll be having Catalan Studio. Likewise, lot of things in the market. But out of these automation tools, Selenium has larger market share. Very, very important, because you can customize the automation scripts, the testing way by integrating with some programming language. You can use Java, you can use Python, you can use C Sharp, you can use Ruby, etc. Then what about what is a Selenium? It's a free automated testing suite of web applications across different browsers and platforms. It's a free tool, automation tool used for automating a web application, mainly used for functional testing of an application. Functional testing. If you use Selenium tool, I can call that as Selenium software. As I have said, Selenium is not a single tool, but it's a suite of softwares. So if you can see, we have different components in Selenium, and WebDriver is one of the component in a Selenium package. Selenium ID, it was the very beginning thing. When we are having this particular Selenium, we are having IDE. Then we have got this RC, remote control. Most popular is Selenium WebDriver, which we'll be using this in this particular course. Then what about Selenium Grid? By using Selenium Grid, suppose if you are having 100 test cases, think of this particular scenario logically. Suppose per test case it takes 1 minute. 100 test cases, 100 minutes. Now I don't want to take 100 minutes. Instead of this, if you execute these test cases in one machine, what I will do, by using this Selenium grid, I will execute these test cases in multiple machines. You can think of like Linux OS, as well as Windows, as well as Mac. So if I execute 30 test cases here, 30 test cases here, it's 30 test cases here. Approximately these are 100 test cases. So it will take around 33 minutes only. So with the help of this Selenium grid, which we will be discussing, you will execute test cases on multiple machines or multiple operating systems. So if you can see here, as I have said, Selenium is not a single tool. It's a seat, nothing but collection of multiple packages. You can see Selenium RC, WebDriver, IDE, Grid. So from Selenium 2 onwards, we are having Selenium RC and WebDriver combined, and it is updated to Selenium 3. Right now in the market, we are having Selenium 4. So if you come here, you can see, go to this Selenium, search for Selenium. You can see it is the website. You can see for the Selenium, come here. So you can see it as Selenium WebDriver. Click on this, read more. So, or you can click on this downloads. You can see if you are using Selenium with C#, this is what the version. Similarly, Ruby, Java, Python, as well as JavaScript. Right now in the market, we are having Selenium 4 version. Before it was not the case. You are having some different versions. You can see it here from Selenium 4 onwards, you are having different methods to implement the same automation script which you are implementing in Selenium 3. It is somewhat the updated version which we will be using. So if you can see, this is the automation script which you will be seeing. But in the previous versions, you will not have the simplified representation of the script. You need to use service object. You need to specify executable path. Like this, there are some different complexities they have avoided. Even Selenium WebDriver Manager also they have avoided. With a simple settings, you can execute your automation script. That's what you are just seeing it here. So we will discuss point by point in a very detailed manner in coming classes. And as I have said, Selenium IDE, Selenium RC, Selenium WebDriver, Selenium Grid are the most important tools as a part of Selenium suite, but we will be only using this Selenium Grid. Now, if you see the advantages of Selenium, it's open source. Variety of languages it supports, like as I have said, Perl, Python, C#, Ruby, Groovy, VB-script, etc. Many operating systems, many browsers it supports, like Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, Opera. See, now Opera is not supported in Selenium WebDriver. Before it was supported. So before 4.1, it was supported. Right now, it was not supporting in the recent versions. You can also use Safari as well. As like browsers, you will also having Windows, Mac, as well as Linux, Unix as well. You can integrate Selenium with CI pipelines with the help of Jenkins. You can integrate Selenium with other open source tools for supporting other features. So if you want to do API testing, what you will do, you will integrate with request module in Python. Request module. So if it is Java, you will use REST assured. You will integrate. Suppose if you want to do mobile app testing, you will integrate Appium, etc. So it can be used for see Android, iPhone, or BlackBerry testing. So these are nothing but mobile application testings, mobile app testing. So these are different advantages of Selenium. Then every tool will be having advantages as well as disadvantages. What are the disadvantages of Selenium? It is only used for testing web applications. Other than web applications, we will not be able to test any another web applications. We cannot test desktop applications. If you want to interact with desktop Windows, we will use AutoIt for uploading the files, etc. We will also use Sikuli for uploading the files, uploading and downloading scenarios. But we cannot directly automate desktop applications. No guaranteed support since it is not a paid tool, it's an open source tool. there is no guaranteed support from the communities. We need to leverage available customer communities. So for image based testing, we will use SQL. So it is also not possible to perform testing on images. So with the help of this Selenium, by default, when you execute any script, any automation script with the help of Selenium, you will not see reports. For that, you need to integrate with frameworks like PyTest or TestNG or JUnit. Let me show you the previously generated report. So I'm just opening this, a previous project. So for generating this particular project, what we have done, we have integrated with PyTest framework. As a part of this particular course, PyTest is most important thing which we will be discussing. So if you can see here, let me show you that. So this is what the report section, just opening this. You can see it here. I'm just opening this in the browser. You can see, so this is what the report. So likewise, we will generate multiple reports at the very end of this particular course whenever we are using this particular framework. And now this is what about a brief overview, a gist of manual challenges in manual testing, how we can use Selenium as a part of automation testing. And this is what the basic session. These are all the course content syllabus which you will be getting. 6 weeks of automation training. It's almost will be more than 6 weeks. Every week we'll be having, every day we'll be having the sessions. Like no weekends sessions, only weekday session. So you will get the recording classes post every session. This particular course is divided into multiple modules, total 8 modules. Overview on automation, Python programming, object-oriented OOPS principles as a part of programming. Not only here, when you learn any programming language, OOPS concept is the heart. Without this, you will not be able to do anything with this, any programming language. We'll also discuss Selenium WebDriver frameworks. We'll use PyTest framework. We will generate the reports with the help of this PyTest framework. We'll implement page object model. We will use Selenium hybrid framework, continuous integration with Jenkins. We'll also discuss Jenkins here, and Git as well as GitHub also, version control system. So if you want in detail, post this session, you will get this PDF, syllabus PDF. You'll get all the things here in one place. Try to go ahead with this. And if you have any doubts, I'm just opening for the doubts, you can ask me.